Let's check out some moments where people spoke with absolute confidence and got everything wrong. Story 1, she told me you can't get sunburned if it's cold out. I, 29M, went hiking with a group of friends and one of them, 28F, refused to wear sunscreen. I offered her some and she laughed. You don't need sunscreen if it's not hot. I told her you can still get sunburned even if it's cold, especially at higher altitudes. She rolled her eyes. I'm not stupid. Sunburns come from heat, not light. I didn't argue further. We hiked for 5 hours. By the time we got back, she was red as a tomato, especially on her face and neck. She still insisted, it must have been windburn. Sure. Story 2. The guy at work swore that milk comes from brown cows. I, 31F, was talking with coworkers about food labeling, and one guy, 33M, confidently claimed that chocolate milk comes from brown cows. We laughed, thinking he was joking. Nope, he doubled down, explaining, that's why there are black and white cows for regular milk and brown ones for chocolate. It's just less processed. We tried to correct him, but he refused to believe it. Why do you think they separate them on farms? Someone pulled up an article. He said, you can't trust everything you read online. Story 3. She argued that the moon is a planet and wouldn't let it go. I, 27M, was at a dinner party when the conversation turned to space. One woman, 30F, started talking about how the moon is Earth's second planet. I corrected her. You mean our moon? That's a satellite, not a planet. She looked at me like I was an idiot. No, it's clearly a planet. It orbits us, doesn't it? Someone else chimed in, trying to explain the difference between moons, planets, and satellites. She cut them off. You all have been brainwashed by school. The moon's too big to be just a moon. She kept calling it Planet Moon for the rest of the night. Story 4. He was convinced that Wi-Fi is better when the router's on the floor. I, 32F, was helping a friend, 34M, set up his home internet. He put the router under his couch. I told him it should be higher up, maybe on a shelf. He shook his head. No signals fall. They don't rise. I explained how signals spread better from elevated positions, especially in apartments. He refused. You don't understand how waves work. They're like gravity. Down is better. Fine. He kept complaining about bad reception for weeks. Story 5. My uncle told me dinosaurs aren't real, just big lizard bones. I, 26F, was at a family BBQ when my uncle 50SM started on one of his rants. This time, dinosaurs. He claimed they never existed. All those bones they dig up, just big lizards. They put them together wrong on purpose. I laughed, thinking he was trolling. He wasn't. He went on about how paleontologists make up the rest of the skeletons, and how no one really knows because we weren't there. When I mentioned fossils, he said, rock shaped like bone isn't proof. I just nodded and got another drink. Story 6. She said you can't get dehydrated in water. I, 30F, was at a spa with a group of friends, just relaxing in the hot tubs and steam rooms. One of them, 29F, started feeling dizzy, and someone suggested she drink some water. She waved it off. I'm in water. How could I be dehydrated? We all kind of paused. Someone explained that being in water doesn't hydrate you. You still need to drink. She laughed. If I'm surrounded by it, I'm fine. My body absorbs what it needs. No matter how we explained sweating and actual hydration, she stuck to her theory. She ended up with a headache later, still insisting it wasn't dehydration. Story 7. He argued that Europe is a country and wouldn't back down. I, 27M, was on a road trip with some friends, and during the drive we were talking about places we wanted to visit. One guy, 28M, said, I've always wanted to go to the country of Europe. We laughed, assuming he meant somewhere in Europe, but he was serious. We tried to explain that Europe is a continent, not a country. He scoffed. It's basically one big country. They all use the euro, right? No, not all. He didn't care. It's all the same thing. We dropped it. Geography wasn't the hill we were dying on that day. Story 8. She claimed Bluetooth works because of blue light. I, 31F, was helping set up a speaker at a friend's party and someone asked if it was Bluetooth. Another friend, 33F, jumped in confidently, yeah, it works through blue light. We looked at her. She went on explaining how the blue light from devices lets them connect wirelessly. Someone tried to explain that Bluetooth is radio waves, not light. She wasn't having it. Why else would they call it Bluetooth? No one could convince her otherwise. We let her believe she was bathed in invisible blue lasers for the rest of the night. Story 9. He told everyone tomatoes are vegetables because they're not sweet. I, 28M, was at a family dinner when my cousin, 35M, corrected someone who called tomatoes fruit. No way, they're vegetables. Fruits are sweet, I said. Actually, by definition, anything that develops from a flower's ovary and has seeds is a fruit. He shook his head. So what, cucumbers are fruit too? Yes, technically. He laughed like I was the crazy one. Look, if it's not sweet, it's not fruit. End of story. We didn't bother after that. He's still the kind of guy who would die on that hill. Story 10. My boss thinks emails don't work. After 5 p.m. I, 29F, have a boss 50SM, who once told me not to send emails after 5 p.m. because they won't go through. I thought he meant something about company policy, but he meant literally. He explained that servers shut down at night, so emails sent late would just get lost. I didn't argue. I just scheduled all my emails for 5:01 p.m. the next week. When he asked why I wasn't emailing during the day, I told him, didn't want the servers to get overloaded. He didn't get it, but I slept better. Story 11. She was convinced bananas grow on trees because they're fruits, duh. I, 30M, was at a farmer's market with some friends when we passed a stand selling tropical fruits. One of them, 31F, saw bananas and said, I wonder what banana trees look like. I mentioned that bananas don't grow on trees, they grow on giant herbs. She laughed. No, all fruits grow on trees. It's common sense. We tried to explain that banana plants are technically herbaceous and not trees, even though they're big. She rolled her eyes. What's next? You're gonna say strawberries aren't berries. We didn't even go there. Story 12. He swore that planes fly faster when it's windy. I, 27F, was talking to my brother, 29M, before a flight, and he confidently told me, the windier it is, the faster the plane goes. I asked what he meant. You know when it's super windy, the plane uses the wind to push harder, like a sailboat. I tried explaining headwinds versus tailwinds, but he wouldn't hear it. Trust me, I've flown enough to know. He flies as a passenger. That's the extent of his experience. Story 13. She thought recycling meant you get your trash back. I, 33M, was at a friend's house when her younger sister, 25F, proudly told us she recycles everything because it comes back to you. We thought she meant in a general eco-friendly way, but no. She believed that when you recycle bottles or paper, you literally get it back, that your recycled items are processed and returned for your personal use. That's why I always check the labels. I don't want anyone else getting my stuff. I didn't have the heart to explain it. Story 14. He argued that English is the oldest language, because everyone speaks it now. I, 26F, was at a family dinner, and my cousin 30M proudly declared that English is the oldest language. Everyone speaks it now. It had to come first. I mentioned Latin, Greek, and older languages like Sanskrit. He wasn't impressed. Those are just made-up ancient stuff. English came first because it's the main one now. Someone asked, so people spoke English in ancient times? Probably. Why not? We didn't push it. He was too far gone. Story 15. She said coins are worth more when they're heavier. I, 29M, was at a store with a friend, 30F, when she picked up a handful of change from her purse. She looked at a few coins and said, the heavy ones are worth more. I looked at her thinking she was joking. She wasn't. Think about it, she said. More metal, more value. I tried to explain that a dime is worth more than a penny, even though it's smaller. She shrugged. That's just what they want you to think. She still sorts her change by weight. If you enjoyed today's video, leave a like and a sub, and we'll see us in the next one.